Hello everybody, this is Riku Keyblade Master, and today I have a theory that's solely based on my reality. For those of you that have been always wondering why Riku and I are so close, it's not just because he's my favorite character. I'm thinking something a little more deeper than that. And this theory is not to be taken lightly. It's not for the faint of heart. For those that don't understand and perceive things as funny, this is not for you. I've been meaning to do this for a long time. And here goes. Now, when I was little, for like the first 2 months of my life, I literally could not see anything. What if, going back to Riku's perspective, all the way back when he was a kid, what if he only had a little amount of peripheral vision, which started out as none at all? But as he got older and met Sora, they started, having little sword fights and whatever, and got to know each other and, all that sort of thing. What if, if you think about it, what if Riku only had a little teeny tiny amount of peripheral vision? If you think about it, the way that dating all the way back to Birth by Sleep, the way that he looks at Terra and Aqua, I'm not gonna lie. What if the way he looks at Terra and Aqua, so you'll notice that he kind of has his head down a little bit in that scene, just like how I do now. He always walks with his head down. That's because he can't look at you straight away. What if his optic nerves are messed up and he just doesn't want to say anything or want anyone else to know, because to him that started his traumatizing past? If you think about it, Riku's parents have never really been reported as around. He never really mentions his parents. The only mention of parents on the island is Sora obviously has a mom and a dad. Because in Birth by Sleep, when Riku is talking to Terra, he's saying, "My friend's dad took us out on a boat. This is where we like to play, but they won't let us row out here by ourselves. Not till we get older." And it's hard for him to be stuck in one place, much like it's hard for me to have to be stuck in one place. And the whole thing about Sora having to be his guardian, the job that Aqua gave him, what if Aqua sensed that he was disabled from the get-go? What if Aqua sensed that Riku had the multitude of disabilities from the get-go and just didn't want to be blunt about it? She was trying to be cryptic about it, to where, he doesn't know that she notices. Fast forward to Kingdom Hearts 2, when he has the blindfold. Show me it's okay to use my heart and not my eyes to navigate the darkness. It also explains his philosophical prowess. When he was little, he'd always say things like, well, maybe. You just need to open your heart and listen. They say that every world is connected by one great big sky. And where he takes all of this into account, and he tells Sora, maybe they just need you to open your heart and listen. And Sora goes, I don't know. You see some pretty weird stuff sometimes, but I'll try it. And Sora finally tries it. Closes his eyes, sees what Riku sees, and is able to get it. Sort of like going cognitive, which is what Riku did when he used the blindfold. But not only did he do that not only was it for cognitive purposes, to fool himself. What if his eyes couldn't change color? Think about it. His eyes and my eyes. We both have hazel eyes. And if you look closely, you'll see that Riku has a weak eye and a strong eye just like me. When he flips the blindfold up for a tad bit and looks at Shion, she was able to see Sora's face, even though her face wasn't transformed into his yet. You see, he has a power of premonition and perception, just like I do. And he was able to figure out that he needed the darkness in order to win certain battles, not just a physical fight with Ansem. He was using it to try to cope with the fact of having these different disabilities. And that was not easy for him to do. And having these disabilities is not easy for anyone to admit. Neither me nor him. But we both, unfortunately, are stuck with it, and we have to live with it, which we're both accepting at a point. We're both accepting to a point. You know? And it's not easy, let me tell you. He wasn't just using the blindfold to fool himself. He was also using it because what if he didn't get the blindfold by, just putting it over his eyes? What if eventually the blindfold represented him not being able to physically see for a while? But then in Kingdom Hearts 2, when he finally took it off, and he had to blink his eyes a little bit in order to get like a major visual adjustment, he started to realize, did I just gain a line of vision again? That's how I was for a little while when the whole peripheral vision just got annoying and I finally gained a line of vision after years and years and years. It's like, he's like, everything seems a lot clearer now. I can see. Did I do that on my own? That sort of thing. Essentially, he's wondering if he did it on his own. He's wondering if he healed his eyes on his own with as far as he could. But then, which essentially is why, another reason why he and Mickey tend to stick together a lot, because in a way, Riku kind of, sort of, even though he has a good enough line of a visual rate, that doesn't have to rely on just peripheral blurriness, he still needs a little help. So, what if Mickey's not doing this just to, want to travel with him of his own volition? What if, because of the way that those two had bonded, he's like, well, I definitely would rather walk the road with you. You don't have to be by yourself. I know you think you do, but you really don't. You're not in this by yourself, And, Sora too, he even admitted and recoded. He's like, the Data Sora admitted to the Data Riku and recoded, like, you've got to stop doing everything by yourself. And quit it with the apologizing. Apologizing for things he can't really help. And that's the thing with me, too. I'm always apologizing a lot for things I can't really help. A lot of times in my streams I'll be like, oops, sorry, my bad, didn't mean to do that, kind of thing. And it just really, it's like a habit that we both can't break. Even now, Riku seems to still be, in a way, apologetic of different things. And his way that he's able to absorb information via auditory learner, it all just comes back and makes sense. Now that I've pieced everything together, it all just comes back and makes sense. From Riku possibly having no vision at all when he was born, to having a tad bit of peripheral vision when he was playing with Sora and they were doing all those different sword fights and stuff. And that's another thing. That's why I think Terra gave Riku the power of the Keyblade. He sensed it too, but just didn't want to tell Riku that he knows, flat out. Again, like Aqua, he just didn't want to be blunt about it, because he didn't know how to be without causing any hard feelings or anything like that. And he tells Riku after the initiation, while they go through the initiation, he says, in your hand take this blade, and so long as you have the makings its wielder you shall one day be made, and you will find me, friend. No ocean will contain you then. No more borders around, below, or above, so long as you champion the ones you love. And Riku even stated, the one thing that matters is to protect the people that matters to him. That's why I think he's a guardian in a sense, which leads to my very next theory that I have. As soon as I get that all worked out, well, actually, I can just tie it in. I won't have to make a separate video. I can just tie it in. See, when I said Riku kind of resembled the role of a guardian, during the Keyblade War, he protected Sora against the demon tornado, whatever the heck it was, after Sora literally lost it. He's like, we lost. It's over. There's nothing we can do. All my strength came from them. They gave me all of it. Without them, I'm completely worthless. And Riku looks at Sora dead in the eye, and he's like, I know you don't believe that for 1 second. As if to say, I know you don't believe that for 1 second. And Sora's journey into the final world, essentially heaven, aka Scala et Caelum, reflects that. As he's talking to the Chirithy, and the Chirithy says, some persist. The edges of sleep and death touch, and maybe you're still held together because something is holding you here. What if Riku is the one that is holding on to Sora's aura? Much how I can hold on to the aura of other people. What if he was granted the power of the paranormal, but it just didn't come in handy yet, or awaken yet, right until that very moment? After Sora is collecting all of the pieces and goes back, time flips. After that, and we get the lingering will scenario. But Xing all of that out, what if Riku's main purpose was to basically protect Sora, basically in a way to tell him, I don't need protecting. You're the one that needs protecting. Kairi is the one that needs protecting. What if Riku was trying to hold on to her aura as well? Makes sense as to where he appears as if he doesn't realize that Kairi ended up being taken by Xemnas. He secretly knows, but he remained oblivious to that fact. You see where I'm going with this? He and I are essentially one and the same due to all of these different qualities and different disadvantages and advantages that we tend to harness within us and we tend to have. And we both are starting to accept the fact that, something's gonna happen. We're not gonna be around much longer, which is why in the secret ending you'll notice that there's a chance he also could have saved the Repliku that dwelled within him during their last trip to the realm of darkness. If you think about it. What if the reasons that they're both in Shibuya, but two different versions of Shibuya, was because Sora and Riku had perished. But Riku's job was to get Sora back. You know, as if to say, one of us, if one of us makes it out, I'd rather it be Sora. Because Sora doesn't have a replicated form. Out of the two of them, Riku is the only one that has a replica. So what if the replica took Riku's place essentially for a tad bit? What if he's the one that retrieved Namine? Not the real Riku, but the replica. And if they didn't give their lives, then they wouldn't have, the others wouldn't have the paradise that ends up, that we see during the ending. Same thing with regular show. If Pops didn't give his life, or in terms Negacranus, didn't give up his life to save the rest of humanity itself, then Mordecai and the others wouldn't have been able to be there in the first place. You know, what if Riku's purpose was self-sacrifice? In a way. Which could explain the different stages that he's gone through. It's as if he's getting ready to accept his fate. And so am I. The only difference is, as far as I know, I don't have a replica. As far as I know, I don't have a twin. But I can live on through others. Which is why, like I said, I don't think I'm actually human. But more so a vessel. For other spiritual entities. Maybe multiple. Who knows? I've come to terms with the fact that my heart doesn't just belong to me. It belongs to others that I protected in the past. But anyway, that's all that I can say for now. Until next time, I have been Riku Keyblade Master. Comment, rate, subscribe to become a Keyblade Wielder, and stay awesome as usual. and let me know what you think about this specific compare and contrast. And like I stated in the beginning, it's not to be taken lightly. It's not really a laughing matter. This is some serious shit. But I'll see you guys next time, whenever I can come up with another topic for another video. Whether it be a discussion, a vocal cover, or another stream series, who knows. Or anything. Even if it's just a little tiny update. I'll see you next time.